Hi, everybody. This video is to explain the idea behind the self-paced learning unit because I want to make sure that the instructions are very clear as far as what you should be doing. So the idea behind self-paced learning is that everybody can learn the content required for this course at your own pace without the pressure or stress of deadlines and keeping up with everybody else. Okay. Now, self-paced doesn't mean that you don't have to do any work. Self-paced does not mean that you can go as slow as you possibly can. Self-paced means that you are going to work at the speed that you work at, but you're going to be constantly working. So, for example, we start with lesson 1. On lesson 1, there are 4 sections. There are the notes section, which is required. So you are required to watch the notes video. You are required to take notes on that video. Section 2 is the must-do section. The must-do section is required to complete lesson 1. The next section is the should-do section. The should-do is required if there is time before the suggested due date. It is not required if you run out of time while working on the must-do section. So you only work on the should-do section if you are still ahead of the suggested due date for that particular lesson. The next section is the aspire to do section. The aspire to do section is for the students who complete the must-do section, who complete the should-do section, and still have time before the suggested due date. The last section is the exit ticket. The exit ticket is the only part of the lesson that is graded. You must pass the exit ticket before you can move on to the next lesson. So the order you should do things are notes, must do. Then if there's time before the suggested due date, you would work on the should do's and the aspire to do's. The exit ticket needs to be completed by the suggested due date or very close to it. Otherwise, you will be falling behind for that particular lesson. Once you complete the exit ticket, you can move on to lesson 2. Once you do all those in the same order for lesson 2, you move on to lesson 3. Okay. Now, the suggested due dates are there to keep you on pace or as close to on pace as possible. So it is important that you try to meet those deadlines. However, keep in mind, the notes, the must-do, and the exit ticket are the only required parts of the lesson. The other 2 parts are only required if you have time before the suggested due dates.